Welcome to the Tribe of Love podcast. Today we are here with Valkyrie and Zia, and we have a beautiful episode. It's a funny story. On the side, we were talking about the topic for today, and Valkyrie had a questions, and we were starting to talk, and then we decided to stop because it was such an interesting topic that we wanted to come full live on without talking and without rehearsal. So here we are.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. So, I've been thinking a lot about one topic that I don't even know how to formulate the question. So, I'm going to try to make it clear for everyone. So, you hear in the spiritual community, some people say you attract according to your vibration, right? And so you are creating your reality, you are attracting the good and the bad in your life. And some people say, okay, if somebody comes and start throwing crap at you, let's say, like for instance, a bad relationship or whatever it is, some people say, oh no, that's only them projecting themselves and you don't have anything to do with that. So don't take it personal, right? We often hear, don't take it personal. She or he have some issues that they have to heal and work on, but you don't have anything to do. So then my question is, do I have something to do with the fact that I'm attracting that person? Obviously, or not. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that it's a co-creation, right? And okay, it's my vibration attracting that person that is not being very nice to me. But at the same time, let's say that person has things to do with it. So it's like we become mirrors of each other, right? It's not only one way. So I don't know if I explain myself properly, or that's the idea. Do I really attract the good and the bad, or not? I don't think it is a co-creation, right? But I was just thinking about it, and it was kind of bothering me. So that's why I wanted to talk to you guys and see what you think.
Mm-hmm.
So, am I hearing correct in that you are wanting to know whether it's true that we attract the negative people into our life for some reason, or whether it's true that that someone negative coming into our life might be about their projections and their stuff?
The latter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I was on the same page.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have thoughts?
Yeah, what do you think?
What do I think? I tend to not think in definitive terms. In other words, I tend to think everything is possible and maybe more than that. I'm not a fan of reductionism, which is like, it's just this, or it's just that, or this is the way, or that's the way. And I tend to feel like it's maybe more, for me, like maybe all of that. I'm not a fan of what I observe as like a shaming, blaming tendency that I see come up in community where let's say that you do have the belief that your vibration attracts everything, right? And then let's say a tragedy happens in your life. For the person who receives that tragedy into their life, that can be a very difficult thing to accept, right?
Right.
And I feel like what I observe is that thought doesn't feel big enough because I don't think it brings people back to love all the time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So for me, like when I'm looking at any ideology or any thought process from any teacher or anybody who's trying to inspire me, I always look at what the fruit of that thought is creating in my consciousness. Does it liberate me? Or does it entrap me? Does it help me find freedom in my heart? Does it help me find connectivity? Does it help me feel like I'm connected to source? If it checks those boxes, then I lean that direction. But if for any reason it limits or inhibits me, even if it's true, I will lean away and kind of seek another route. That's kind of
Okay.
how I feel. I think they're potentially both true. Potentially
Okay.
both true. Like if I attracted let's say I go with it's true that we attract, right? Let's say I attract a really, really shitty person into my life. We're just going to pretend it's true. Maybe it's not so that I see that I'm a shitty person, but maybe I might, how do I want to say it? I don't like the idea of attract, if I'm being honest. I can't even say that word. I think what I would say is like, I can use that shitty experience as a way to refine myself. And I can then be like, how can I learn to set boundaries? I can use this experience as an opportunity to learn how to say no. Or I can use this person's negative energy as an opportunity to stand up for myself. Or so I can use it for my good. That's how I would
Okay.
that's how I would speak to it. It's like, how can you use everything for good?
Right.
But not necessarily you're attracting every single thing.
Okay.
It's just my thoughts.
Well,
Makes sense for you?
yeah, makes total sense. Yeah, like based on facts, what is really what I need to work on myself and the other person,
Yeah.
obviously,
And
right?
the other person.
Right. So yes, it is like a co-creation. Okay,
It's a
let's
co-creation.
see what good it can bring for
Yep.
both parties.
Both parties.
Right.
I like that you said a two-way mirror,
Yes.
right? Because that's true. You know, it's never just us. It's always us and the people that we're relating to. You know, so of course, to me, it would make sense that we have some sort of learning that we could glean from it, but then they do too. You
Mhm.
know, it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
What are your thoughts?
Thank you.
Well, I think each one of us is, I always said it, is we are sacred. Each one of us has its own set of beliefs on what you want to believe. And like you were saying, you can believe what you're asking, and it's good because it's something that's happening. But what brings into your life brings a sense of being a victim. It brings a sense of being free, like you were saying, or
Mm.
expansive. Brings a sense of connection to the divine or to your higher self. What is it that is bringing you? So when you go that road, then you get to pick. Okay, I just keep feeling miserable, running in this circle, this cycle of believing this and acting and feeling the same way and being a victim of a pattern, or I just have the option to refine myself, to change and evolve from that and learn also. So at that point, everything in your life becomes a teaching, a lesson, step to take you to a higher level. Like I always say, the divine calling the divine within us. And that's something that I came up with because it's like I see it everywhere. I mean, things, and I know it's hard. You go through life, things happen to you, you suffer, you fall and raise. But it's all for a reason of becoming better, evolving, growing, learning. And if something happens that we consider is bad, yes, you can stay with that and be the victim and kick and scream all you want and blame on the other one, or you can say, hey, this is the divine right then and there and doing something for me to call me to raise to my vibration, to change, to evolve, so I can be a better version of myself after I'm done with that. So when you start living your life that way, in a way of with that creative force that you are your own self, and everything that happens to you or that's coming to you is in service to you. It's for you. It's to help you become better. So when you that's a whole different outlet, different point of view, a different paradigm in life. Because all of a sudden, no matter what happens, you will take it with a creative force, and you will just do something good out of that for you, that brings you closer to expansive love. So that's how I see it. So when it comes to that, then it's like you go through life and things happen, but you take it with, okay, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that, I grow with it from this, I learn from this. And sometimes it's harder than others, because sometimes it's easy, and sometimes you have to reflect, come back into your own center, and okay, how this makes me better, how changing. I know I'm feeling this because I saw that, or that's happening. So how do I change myself to be okay with what's going on out there? And most of the time, I've seen it in my life many times, when you take that approach, you kind of evolve from the situation, you learn and you grow, and it doesn't bother you, and it's not a problem anymore. And when that happens, I think that's my theory, because life says, okay, he learned the lesson. Oh, we don't need that situation anymore. He grown out of that. He learned. He got the lesson. Move on. And magically, whatever was happening in there, change it. So that's what I call the power of creation, because you start changing yourself, learning the lesson of what life's bringing you. And when you learn the lesson, it doesn't make sense to be dealing with the same thing. So the environment kind of mirrors something else to the next lesson. So that's the way I see it.
I love that. I love that. I hear like the opportunity for growth. You know, I think what I am always wary of is anything that opens up blame or shame in our systems when we're working with these kinds of energies, right? Like, am I good or bad? Am I right or wrong? Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like, whose fault is it kind of energy, whatever that is, you know? And so I feel like there's a way that we can step to the side of that, you know, where it's like, maybe it's not about that. Maybe it's not like, you know, you've done something, so you have to learn something in order to evolve. Maybe it's that the lessons are blessings that come out of our willingness to step into love, right? Like, like life happens to us all, right? The good and bad, you know. I think there's like a Bible verse, or maybe it's a psalm that's like, you know, the rain falls on the just and the unjust, right? It's like, whether you're good or bad, you still are experiencing life, right? Like, there's life happening all around us, and it happens to us all, right? Like, doesn't matter whether you're a good person, or it doesn't matter whether you're living, you know, like a trickster, you know. It's happening to us all. And then, but when life offers you something that is bitter or sour or painful, it's like, can you open your heart to it and find the treasure in it? Can you soften toward it? You know, can you accept that it is right now, no matter why it's happening, you know, and maybe step out of the right or wrong or fault or the whys even, and then come into like, it's here. No matter why it's here, it's here.
Right. It reminds me of what they say, taking responsibility, either if it's your fault or not. So you take your role, your part in a game, let's say life, and something comes, or some behaviors that you don't like that are being manifested in certain people around you, but you take responsibility. And I think that's the hardest part, right? Oftentimes to take the responsibility, because like you said, we tend to blame, like we want black or white and that's it, without really taking it in and really think about it and say, okay, what's the lesson here? What is what is the best role I can take to not, I wouldn't say make this work, but in some way make it peaceful, right?
Mhm.
For anybody involved.
Yeah.
So, and also, for instance, there's one Tao practice. I mean, it's universal, basically. Forgiveness. We all know about forgiveness practices, um, and this forgiveness practice is asking for forgiveness, but at the same time, give forgive the others, regardless, be me the villain or me, taking in all the fault or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I forgive you, please forgive me, I forgive you, please forgive me, bring love, peace and harmony. Yeah, I do not care if it's not my if it's not my fault, but I forgive you
Mm-hmm.
anyway. So please forgive me.
Yeah,
So yeah.
it's beautiful. I I think, forgiveness comes, but I'm a big fan of processing how we feel before we rush to forgive, so that we don't bypass our true, genuine emotional response,
Mm-hmm.
and we allow ourselves to have the emotion that we are experiencing in its fullness, and then we can resolve towards forgiveness. But I feel like if we put the cart before the horse, I think that there can be unresolved emotional material that festers, and it's not truly forgiveness. It's like forgiveness in name only. I like to do a practice for myself that I call wearing the other shoe, which is like I try to imagine myself as them
Mm-hmm.
and what I might be feeling if I was them, and what might be happening in my life to make those behaviors or those actions possible. Like, why would I think that that was okay? Right? And a lot of times, what happens is there's a softening because I can see from their eyes. It's like, it doesn't make it right, what happened. And I'm softer now. I'm in my heart related to you.
Yes.
And that helps me sometimes. And then I also feel like sometimes we have what I call the dark teacher, which is like the person that comes to teach you how to stand up for yourself by being really difficult, or the person that comes along and teaches you how to use your voice by speaking over you all the time, and
Yes.
those are different kind of lessons, right? Because the lesson is to do differently. It's to stand up a little and be a little, it's
Yeah.
a different kind of lesson.
Right.
Yeah. So if we jump so fast into our sweetness, which is beautiful that we all have that, but sometimes it's to be like, maybe I need to stand up. And can I be in love while I stand up? Can I be gentle towards this person while I tell them, no, you can't do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So here I have something a little shocking. I'm going to share it, and you
Okay.
tell me what you think about it. So speaking of forgiveness, so I always said, and this is my experience, this is how I see things. Forgiveness is human, and gratitude is divine.
Mm.
So, and I say that because I live it in my life. So if you say that you need to forgive something or somebody, it's because you believe that there's something good or something bad that happens to you, and you had to make the peace with that, and then you're okay with that, and you go through the process. And that's valid. That's with the first step, the first level. But it's very human, because you are in good and bad. But if you're in the divine vision that everything is in support of you, then everything is an opportunity to grow. And when you grow and you learn, you don't have to forgive. Something did something bad to you, it was in service to you. You learned the lesson, and now the only thing you have is gratitude, because now you're in a better position. I don't know. This is my view of things. So I don't know. I just leave it.
Yeah, that's
Makes
a
sense,
higher
right?
level.
Yeah.
That's a higher level.
So that's
for
what I'm
sure.
saying. And at one point, I was
Right.
trying to work through this, because I don't know, people come here, we talk about that all the time. So I was trying to put my thoughts together, and that was the thing. It's like, yeah, because I don't forgive anybody. I'm always in gratitude to everything. And then I started to put together, okay, yeah. So it's kind of human to say this is bad, this is wrong, this is good. And I had to deal through that, make peace with that, somehow reach a level of balance with that. And that's when you say, I forgive you. But who is forgiving who? So that's the thing. So I think it's mostly changing our paradigm to think that everything is in service to us. Like I was saying earlier, the divine calling the divine in you, and when you look at that in that way, it becomes so much simple, because all of a sudden you're just learning from everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even know why you need to learn, and you focus to learn. So then you have a little bit of faith that it's because of a higher purpose that you're going through that. And you do it, and then you learn the lesson, and the only thing you have is gratitude, because that.
I really like, are you learning, as a question related to this,
Yes.
right? Like, someone's coming to you and they're giving you crap. And maybe a takeaway could be a question, asking the question to yourself, what can I learn from this? Not, did I attract this person? Or, but is there something that I can learn from them? If I was going to learn something from them and this
And what about
behavior.
something from you?
Yeah.
Because you have to learn something
have
from
to
you
learn
about that.
Yeah.
So the moment they're throwing crap at you, like you're saying, it's bothering you. So why is it bothering you?
Yeah.
So if you learn not to look at them and learn how to throw crap, but you learn how to deal with that is being thrown at you, then you learn, and then when they keep throwing it doesn't bother you, because it doesn't. And when you do that, you are the one changing. And like I was saying before, when you change, I think, and I strongly believe, based on my experience, life is like, oh, he got the lesson. This person that need to stop throwing crap at this person, and all of a sudden, magically, things change in life. And I experienced that in relationship, at work, and my path. So it's like, this is what I've seen in my life. So it's like, I embrace it with all my heart, because it's like, it works time after time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
I always think about other people like mirrors, like what you were saying, reflecting back some part of myself. And, it may not be their exact behavior, but is there something that I see in them that reflects somewhere inside of me? And for me, I actually turn inward towards myself to love that place, right? So let's say somebody's being hyper manipulative out there in the world and it's driving me crazy, right? And I might turn in towards myself and be like, where have I been that? And how can I love that part of myself? And how can I accept that part of myself with no shame? And take ownership of those parts of me that manipulate, so that I can be more loving towards myself first. And then that in turn helps me have more compassion for the person outside of me. That's my primary practice. I always look inward first to see if there's a relationship somewhere within me. And that helps me then to see more clearly. Let's say I've done that work. I've looked at myself. I can see where those manipulations live inside of me. Then when I go and I look outward towards my brother and my sister, I am more compassionate, because I've soften towards my own thing, right?
Right.
And it doesn't mean that they're not responsible. I might still hold them accountable, right? I might still say, hey, I noticed that you were lying, or I noticed that you were manipulating, and I'd like to talk about that. Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
You know, but I'm going to talk to them differently because I've held myself accountable for my own shit first.
And do you do it with that smile that you were having?
Uh-huh.
So great. It's so lovely.
So what happens when you look internally, but you don't find anything, even remotely, that
So
it's
I
been
like
manifested?
So I like to expand it out, and I like to say, is there anything ever that could even be sort of similar to this behavior?
Right. So the answer is yes.
And I find that it shows me something when I ask that. It may not be the exact behavior. It might just be like a little nugget of what they're doing
Yeah.
that's got me somehow, right?
Yes.
I had a teacher that used to always say, if you spot it, you got it. So if we really, really judge something, and that when we are judging something, that it is a really good indicator that there's something in us that we judge in ourselves. And that is why we also judge it outside of us.
Right.
But it helps to broaden it to be like, you know, what's the thing they're doing? Are they displaying a certain type of, what's the way they're displaying, right? And if you could name it and then expand it a little so you can look for the subtle bits.
Yes.
Because sometimes the part of us that hurts the most and needs our healing the most is actually on the other side of that trigger. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes people just make you mad. And maybe you need to be mad. Like I would say, like if you don't get angry a lot, maybe that's what the lesson is to actually embody your anger and express a boundary and say something. That's another thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another topic. That's another
Standing
journey.
up for yourself,
The-
definitely.
The shadows. Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your insights.
So to close it
So
up,
powerful.
what do you think we can share with everybody that's watching us and listening that are dealing with those things? Just to recap a little bit on what we talk.
Well, there's not like because everybody's different, right? Like you said in the beginning, your beliefs, the thoughts processing. I think the main thing for somebody to do is to. I mean, it's easy to say when you practice something in a daily basis, right? Because oftentimes we are not aware. So, and the idea of sitting with our thoughts, can be, like not easy, or people, I include myself, it's like, okay, I need to sit and really think about this and try to formulate a way to resolve, or like, how do I really come to this person with love, or how I show that I can transform this relationship or whatever that is, right? So I think that would be, in my case, the main thing to do, just to sit with it and allow the feelings, like you mentioned, just by allowing to feel the feelings of anger, anxiety, or whatever it is, and then sit with them, marinate in them, and then something will come up, a message, a word, because there is no other way. Your intuition, your own channeling will just like, hey, you need to do this. Yeah, that's what I have experienced.
Mm. It's beautiful. Mm. I would say follow the teachings that bring you to your heart. You know, there's a lot of people saying a lot of things
Yeah.
out in this world, but the ones that are worth following will bring you home. And if it makes you feel shame or guilt or fear or any other such thing, maybe it's okay to invite a different thought. Maybe it's okay to follow a different thread. And there's no one size fits all way to handle all of the things.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. I would say, just to share and just to close it all up, that we are super powerful in a way of creating what we experience, but not in a way that we go out there and we change things, but in a way that how we change ourselves to perceive the things that are around us. So we have that power to change everything, but only by changing how we perceive things and how we change ourselves. So you will perceive different things based on how you change yourself and based on what direction you want to create. So that's right there is huge, because you can choose to be a victim. This is bad, this is wrong, this is good, this happened to me, and you're a victim and you're creating that, and the whole world, the whole reality will show you that, and you will live through that, and it will make you feel up and down, frustrated, mad, or whatever, and that's okay. This is how this life is done here. This is how it's created. But you can also change that and start thinking different ways and change the way you think, the way you perceive things, the way you create things. So, and that's another level where you start thinking, like I was saying before, you are the creator, you learn from everything, and that puts you in a different vibration and a different attitude and a different dimension, let's say, of life. And I think that's I always thought about it, why it feels so good to be in there. And if you look at nature, I always say, look at nature. Nature will tell you a lot about how the rules and the laws happening. Anything in nature is reusable. Nothing goes to waste. Everything is, something dies and it makes something else grow. So, and you might say that whatever die and rotten is bad, but this is our view. And if you look at it with higher eyes, with a transcendent view, whatever happens in your life, the die, you can use it to grow. And now when you're doing that, you're using the same process of nature, and you are in resonance with nature, and that feels like you're one with nature because of the energy of resonance that you are living right then and there. And that's another thing that I would say, just if we look at nature, nature will tell us everything. And we see how the processes, and we just apply them to us, and it gets us in harmony with something bigger than us, and that makes you feel like you're one with God, one with the divine. But it's change and it's hard, and but it requires time. It's not like you're just going to get it right away. Sometimes you have to really spend time alone and look at yourself and think about things, and that's what I would say.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Anything else?
Nice.
Okay, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Remember that life is a ceremony, and everyone's story is sacred and can be someone else's medicine. Remember to live life and love nature as your altar. And we are the Tribe of Love, and we're looking forward to seeing you in next episode, next journey. Don't forget to subscribe, and also watch the next segment. More the love.